Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Trap Shake podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Human Appeal. If you'd like to support the work that myself and Human Appeal are doing together, then head on over to my Instagram and make sure that you donate to the link in my bio. I think we're on like £26,600 right now, how much we've raised. So alhamdulillah, that's going really well. Make sure that you guys keep donating every Friday, and throughout the week I post reminders for people to donate. So make sure that you get involved in that, inshallah. Today's if you also, because the crisis that's going on in Bangladesh, if you want to head on over to the Human Appeal page, even though it's not attached with my charity at the moment, I'm raising money for Palestine, etc. You can go over to Human Appeal's page and see that they're supporting the people over in Bangladesh as they're going through a crisis right now as well. So you can go over there and support that page. It won't be attached to mine, so you'll have to go over to the Human Appeal's Instagram page, and you'll find links to help support the people over there. Anyway, today's episode, I'm going to just jump straight in today. Again, I always say I'm going to try and make these episodes shorter, but I never get to. I always start waffling. But today's episode is all about self-worth. I think that's the best way to put it. I'm more freestyling this one because it's a thought that just came to me. Well, it came to me last night, but I've been thinking about it for the past few days. And it's this. I was talking to my friends on the balcony last night, and we was talking about how in reality it's only Allah's opinion that matters. It doesn't really matter what people think. It doesn't matter what your loved ones even think, to an extent. Like, as long as in the eyes of Allah, which is obviously a hard thing to kind of differentiate between sometimes, because again, what do you know? What you don't sometimes know what it is Allah genuinely wants, or like maybe like there's two interpretations of a certain hadith or a verse, and you're like, okay, well, which one is it that Allah wants? Which can be obviously very tiring if you're just like a normal layman person trying to navigate through Deen and Islam, etc., and life. But on the topic of self-worth, the main thing that matters in life is Allah's opinion of you. That's the main thing, because He's the one that patterns everything in your life. So I was just thinking about the last sermon that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ made before he passed away. And obviously in that, when he said, all of mankind is from Adam and Eve, no Arab has a superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab has superiority over an Arab. White has no superiority over black, and black has no superiority over white. And then the final part, it says, everyone is judged except, like, this is what makes people quote unquote better than others, is within their piety and their good actions. And I feel like that's all Allah really cares about. Like, obviously there's other things he kind of talks about that are good, and alhamdulillah, like, you focus on these things. But the main thing I feel like Allah focuses on is piety and the good actions that you do. And I feel like when you attach your self-worth to things like that, no one can kind of take away your self-worth. And I say that because I look around in today's society, myself included as well, and my friends and etc. And I can see that within a lot of people, they tie their self-worth with things like money, things like women, things like what car it is that they drive. And for me, it's just a thing of like, I'm telling myself and my friends and the people that I care about, stop attaching your personal sense of self to dunya related things. Money, how much money you have doesn't determine the kind of man you are, nor does it determine like anything about your character, other than obviously you're skilled at making money. Same with women. Like I remember when I was young, obviously chasing women and validation and thinking if I slept with this amount of women, like, oh, I get some kind of blue ribbon at the end of it to say that, yeah, you're cool, or you're this, or you're that. Obviously in today's society, like your car, and I know men go through a lot of pressure to perform, even like money wise, career wise, because of the illusion of pressure that is proposed to us by like women and stuff. But all of this boils down to, who are you? I was trying to say it to my friend, like, who are you if all of this was taken away from you? If you lost all your money, if you lost all your women, if you lost all your beauty, if you lost all your worldly possessions, everything pertaining to the dunya, if you lost it all, who are you then? Because if you are a lesser man or woman when you lose these external things, then who were you to begin with? I pride myself on things that are kind of like the only things that are in my control. So I was telling someone, like I said, who are you, like, if you're stripped down to the bone, like when you're stripped down naked? Your brain, so like your intelligence, your physique to an extent, because you can like work out and stuff, and what was the other one? Your soul, your spiritual side, your spiritual point, which is what I feel like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was talking about in his last sermon when he's talking about piety and good actions. Even though good actions are external things, if they are done sincerely, it's an internal reality that is attached with them. And yeah, it was just this thing of like, with stuff like that, or like your 5 prayers. We was talking about that as well, like your prayers and your dhikr. Like, no one can really take these things away from you. No one can take away your prayer. Even if you was thrown into prison and you're in pen now, and you've got like a little 4x4 cell, it's like you can still pray, you can still do dhikr, you can still do push-ups, you can still read books. Like, even, and let's say they took away the books, on a base level, the only thing you need is the connection to Allah. And I remember this story. I can't remember I don't know if it was prophets or if it was just like scholars, or I can't remember what the story was. But if you know, comment down below. And there was these 2 people, and they were sitting, and they were like just reflecting. They were talking, and I think they were looking at a kingdom, and they said, if the kings knew what we had, they would sell it all, they'd give their kingdom away, or they'd try and kill us for what we have, basically. And I remember when I first heard that when I was young, and I was always wondering, like, what was this thing that these kings would have killed them for? Because they were like poor people, like they're in poverty, and these are like kings. They have kingdoms, they have women, they have money, they have chariots, which is whips nowadays, so they've got Rolls Royces, and they've got stuff like that. And so what would make a king like that want to kill these 2 lowly like men in society's eyes? Because again, like, what is it? And obviously as a kid I used to think, oh, what is it, I really want to know what it is. And as I'm getting older, and as I'm still sinning, but like as I'm taking a more of an active step towards Allah, and again I have been for the past few years of my life, again very slow. I have a lot of making up to do, because obviously again you got a lot of karma and sin to get out either way. But yeah, it was this thing of, oh, it's the internal reality that you have with Allah. Now that sounds very vague, it sounds very like, okay, what does that really mean? And I think as I'm getting older, and like when I go places like Senegal and Mauritania and Morocco, and when I was in Medina, when I did Umrah, Medina more so than Mecca. Mecca, I like when we was like where you do like tawaf and stuff, like around the Kaaba. That was beautiful. But everything else everything outside of the compound of Mecca is a bit sour taste in your mouth. But what's the word? But in Medina, I love Medina. The whole city, everywhere, everything about Medina was just lit. was so good. Just this state of tranquil peace. But yeah, no. So I was saying, what is it that these kings would have killed us for? And I said, it's this internal contentment with Allah, because the dunya, we all know, can't give that contentment. We all know the famous statement: if you gave the son of Adam a mountain of gold, he'd only want another one. And I've seen that. I'm like this. I'm like, when I get something, I get something nice, I always want something else. You know what I mean? So, and neuroscientists and was it Buddhists, and we've all came to the conclusion: the chasing of pleasure does not bring happiness. Everyone knows this. It's almost like just a fact that everyone knows now, but everyone wants to still chase this thing because they're like, even though they know it. What's that thing that says everyone knows money, fame, and happiness doesn't bring happiness, but everyone wants to find out for themselves. I don't need to find out for myself. I've been there and done that to a certain extent, and I've realized it's not giving me happiness. So I'm not in the illusion that chasing it will give me it. But however, the contentment and the peace that you can attain with your spiritual connection with Allah, this is what brings true contentment. That's how someone. I remember when I was in we were doing charity aid once, and it was on the border of Syria in Rahanli. So I was in Turkey. It was in Rahanli though. I might be saying it wrong, but it was on the border of Syria, and this man had his family, and his whole, like, the bottom half of his body was blown off from I think he might have stepped on a mine, or I can't remember what the thing was, but again, it was his whole bottom was just gone. So again, just like it was just the top half, torso and above is what he had. And despite the fact that he had his whole bottom half of his body blown off by the war, I remember asking him, and I said, because he seemed really happy, but not happy, that's the wrong word. He seemed really content. And obviously we was giving him food parcels and stuff. And I remember, like, I felt like a bit guilty when we was doing it. I don't know, I can't remember why. But it was this kind of like, sometimes when you're giving anyone that's been on a deployment, you might have felt it, that when you give like charity and aid, and sometimes you feel like you're this superior being, like, oh, look at me coming down to help you in your situation. But for me, it wasn't really like that, because I knew that this person was closer to Allah than I am, even though in the dunya it looks like I'm helping him out, when in reality he was helping me. And that's the thing with this life. There's the dunya, what's happening in the dunya, and that's what's happening in the unseen. You might look like you're up, and you have the Rolls Royce, and you have the Rolex, and you have the things, and you have everything. But if your status with Allah is not there, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean anything. Now that doesn't mean you can't have nice clothes, nice cars, nice gal. That's not saying that. What it is saying is, you have to make sure that with those, you accompany it with the submission to Allah, if you're a Muslim, obviously. Something higher than yourself, submitting something higher than yourself, having humility. Because, again, the people that do have all these things and don't have Allah, we see how their lives act out. Like, how they play out, sorry. How many celebrities do we see killing themselves? How many people do we see in great situations, in great, like, big houses and big cars, and they tell you they're not happy, they're fighting depression, all of these different things. So what is it that people aren't getting? Oh, maybe this thing is not the answer. So what is? And the thing is, if you, like, obviously I believe I have the answer. Some people might not believe it's Islam. That's cool. That, again, to me, my way, and to you, yours. But for me, I know what it is for me, because I know I can't deny my experiences. That's one thing I can't do. Yeah, maybe logically there's room for debates, and okay, well, this person said this points, but no one can take away the fact of when I was in Senegal. And again, when we go to Senegal, like, it's not like Dakar we go. Well, we do go to Dakar, but like when we go to, like, when we're doing like proper like the dhikrs and the prayers and everything. It's a very small village, and if you was to look at it from a dunya perspective, it looks very like dingy or whatever. But wallahi, I've said this multiple times, it's the happiest that I am the happiest I ever am in life when I'm there. But dunya wise, there's goats roaming the street, there's camels there's camels just like outside people's yards. It doesn't make sense. There's goats roaming the street, there's just all these just weird things going on. Again, maybe it doesn't look that nice. It looks like those, sometimes when you see those charity programs and it's like, oh, sponsor a child in Africa, like it looks like one of those villages. But that is where I'm at my most happiest. And it proves to me so many times, time and time again. It's not just one experience. Like every time I go, I try and go as many times as I can. It just proves to me that it's like things do not bring happiness and things do not bring contentment. It's all about your inner reality and how you perceive the world. And that's the only way that you can ever achieve true happiness and true peace. And it doesn't matter what situation you're in. I remember someone, I'm not gonna say who, someone liked my video yesterday, and I know right now he's in prison. And I remember just thinking, like, even though he might be in a cell right now, if he can somehow attach his reality to Allah and pray those 5 prayers on time, add the extra prayers as well, the sunnah prayers, and he can read the Quran when he can, especially if he can read Arabic, that's even better, and attach himself to that reality. And if he can attach himself to that reality, even though he's inside a cell like that, he can be more content than someone on the outside. Again, just because you're behind those caged bars doesn't mean you yourself have to be like a prisoner. Like the biggest prison is our own mind. But yeah, I'm gonna stop there because again, I know the camera just cut out, so I gotta make sure I gotta edit that now. Anyway, but yeah, I don't want this going on a bit too long. It went on way too long than I thought, fucking 18 minutes. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Bit of a free flow one today. I didn't write any thoughts down. It's just something that was I wanted to just get off my head or my chest. But yeah, life, eh? But yeah, anyway. I'll see you guys for the next episode. Make sure that you go over to the Human Appeals page if you want to donate to the people in Bangladesh, or go over to my page, which is JUSTUMR, just Umar, to donate to the people of Palestine. I'll see you on the next episode, guys. Assalamu alaikum.